Excuse me. What's up, guys? All right. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're just in a weird weird spot right now, to be completely honest. We've got a lot of liquidity built on both sides of the market. Obviously, higher time frame suggests new lows. We're reacting to the higher time frame demand over to the left hand side. So we're just trying to decipher. Actually, in a sell right now. This looks like it's gonna still, to me, it looks like it's gonna hold, but we need to see some confirmations. Okay. Right now, structure for me is broken here, right? I would say that your structure point is resting like this, right? Until that's broken, we really don't have a play. And even if you looked at, sort of like this region right here as your structure level, we've got nothing that's closed above, right? So to me, right now, I would say that I would want to see these lows get taken first before we could even start looking for realignment. Getting more into the extreme portion of this leg, of course, like if and when we see those confirmations. But bottom line is right now, there was sells that presented up here. I'm actually right now I'm in a sell. I'll be going over that later on today. I actually took a scale in as well somewhere in here on a flip, and I took off that position at the week low. So me right now, the sort of best course of action is going to be to let this kind of work itself out a little bit further. As we keep moving lower and lower and lower, it's going to be less and less enticing to look for potential sells. So I think at this moment, what I would probably be looking for would be something down in this region here to sort of potentially give us a last shot at seeing whether or not demand wants to hold, right? And looking for a realignment and knowing full well that we have, an abundance of passive orders in the form of liquidity above these highs, right? So there's lots of reason for price to want to navigate up there, provided we take a substantial amount of liquidity on the opposing side, right? So, most of you guys already know, but the way that I sort of view liquidity is that, like, if we want to be able to move in this direction with any kind of, real pressure, we would have to look at this level over here as a level that gets essentially taken into this level and then look for some form of realignment to then be able to confirm our bias to potentially take this into a week high, right? Which would be an absolutely massive trade. Yeah, so like I said, this is kind of where I'm sitting right now. Obviously, if you didn't catch sells up in this region, there's no point in trying to look for sells this deep in the leg. We need to see some form of huge structure break. So if we saw a break of structure, something like this, and we didn't change character on the way up, I would say that looking for sells is still pro trend, even though we're reacting to an extreme. We may end up seeing something like this that you can then take a flip to then take this up into the longs. Like it's all going to depend on how price sort of develops. So if I was to look for anything right now, just the way that price is lined up, I would probably say that we would be looking for this right here for a counter order flow general. So we would need to see a 15-minute order flow shift. Actually, we would need a structure break is what we would need to get us back into pro trend. Okay. So yeah, until like if we got some form of structural level that went like this, we take the level, come into the high, I would be looking for the sells to come down and then probably the buys to go back up. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, until we see something substantial sort of show itself, right now we need to see some further development. I think everybody's got a good handle on what it is that we're looking for here. But the bottom line is we need to see additional confirmations before we can really solidify the next move in the market. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them later on today as things develop a little bit further. But as it stands right now, these lows are weak. I'm going to be taking my sell that I took into here into probably this region right here and then just cutting it off. I have no reason to hold it any further. I do believe we should see a relatively strong reaction from this region. So yeah, be aware of what's going on. Be aware of liquidity in the market, resting here, resting here. Ideally, we'd like to see this taken first and then some form of realignment to take this back up. So I would say coming down into the extreme refinement as well, you could probably get a little bit more aggressive with probably like a counter trend model, just looking for a 15-minute order flow shift at the extreme and getting involved as opposed to waiting for it to become pro trend, because ultimately once this thing goes, there's not going to be any stopping it, I don't think. So anyways, have a good morning, guys. Trade safe, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you around 12 o'clock today.